We are now live. All right, YouTube, what's going on? What's going on, y'all? Matt Garland here, NMLS number 58700, better known as MG, the mortgage guy. So look, man, I'm not even going to waste any time. I'm super excited about this all-star panel that I have for the DMV area. Man, this is going to be amazing. But first, let's pay some bills. Shout out to Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to all the earners that's here on the Zoom chat. If you want to become a member of EYL University, use my annual promo discount code EYLMG for 40% off of your membership. Trust me, it's well worth the money. Ask anybody who's a part of EYL University, and they will tell you this stuff sells the stuff. So I'm not going to go too much into that today, but I'm going to put links in the description if you want to learn more about EYL University. So let's get to today's topic. We're talking about one of my favorite places in the world, the DC area, the DMV. So I have an all-star panel that's going to educate you guys on the impact that COVID-19 has had on the DMV market. So first and foremost, let's start with Lily. Lily, how are you today?
I'm good, Matt. Thanks for having me. My name is Lily. I'm with Remax One Solutions, located in Tysons, in Vienna, Virginia. I am licensed in Virginia, DC, as well as Maryland. However, I specialize more in Virginia just because I grew up in that location, so I know it in and out.
Now, are you working with more sellers, more buyers, more first-time home buyers, the luxury market? Like, what are you working on?
I'm working with first-time home buyers, investors, international clients, sellers and buyers, 50-50. So literally pretty much everyone.
Okay, so, and how long you been in the business for, Lily?
5 years.
5 years.
I was initially in banking. I was managing Capital One branches, and I was doing real estate part-time. So I became full-time agent about 5 years ago.
How was that transition? Because I know a lot of people want to leave their corporate job and pretty much become self-employed. So how was that for you? How was that transition?
I took a leap of faith. I was doing really well with Capital One Bank, but I wanted more flexibility. I have two kids. And so what really helped me though is I had a solid book of business when I was in banking. So when I got into real estate, I was able to really kind of just focus on those clients that I was working with previously. So it made the transition much easier than going in without any clientele.
Dope. I love that. I love that. So we got Northern Virginia representing. Now let's head to DC. LaDonna Stokes, the Virgo Queen. What's up?
What's up? So licensed for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I am a real estate agent with Compass. We dominate DC property. I'm pretty sure you've seen our signs, taking up like 75% of the marketplace. I've been in real estate for 5 years in different capacities. I've started in commercial mixed-use residential property management, had over 800 units that I was managing, plus new construction lease-ups. I am on an all-black real estate team that our team lead has over 24 years in the business and is a developer, and he trains all of our agents that's on the team for development. And I also am the first vice president for the oldest African-American Women's Council for Real Estate Brokers Association called NARAB. So we do a lot of policy for democracy and housing. And then also a regional board member for the oldest Black business organization, the National Business League, founded by Booker T. Washington, where we do a lot of policy advocacy with the White House for the Opportunity Zone Initiative. So I'm out here.
Wow, you just said a whole mouthful. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, so let's move north. Let's go up top a little bit. Jojo, what's up?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Jojo Olaseha. I am a full-time real estate agent. I am the team lead. I have a team, Jojo Olaseha and Associates. We're also an all-Black, all-female real estate team, and we are just going to dominate Baltimore and the surrounding counties. This is our niche market. We're all from this area. And I have a property management company as well, KMD Property Management. We manage about 20 properties in Baltimore City. What'd you say? How experience? I've been an agent for 3 years. I've been full-time all of that time except for 6 months. I just took the leap and just said, I'm out. And I love it. This is what we do.
Yeah, I love this so far. So we have 2 people on this panel so far that just said, fuck your job, basically. And I'm going to take a leap of faith and I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do what I got to do and I'm going to bet on myself.
Right. And I had some business going in because I had like 6 months going in. I got started with investors. So they were buying again. And I just felt that pull, like now is the time to go. So I just went for it. So here we are.
Wow. Congratulations with that, Queen. And in a short period of time, how many people are on your team?
Right now, I have 3 new team members. They're in an onboarding process. They'll be joining my team June 1st. And then I have 4 other team members right now. So 4, and then 3 new ones will be joining in June. So we'll be a powerhouse. We'll be a powerhouse. I'm excited.
From your mouth to God's ears. We love it.
Yeah.
All right. So last but not least, I'm going to bring in some of my favorite people in the world. If you're on Instagram, if you haven't under a rock, then you know who they are. They don't even need an introduction. We got the Charmcity Buyers in the house. What's going on, guys?
Yes. Hey, thanks for having us. We're excited. You know, we always look for opportunities to big up Baltimore. We're all about making sure people know Baltimore is more than what you watch on TV and hear on the news. And so we're here to tell it, holler it, and make sure everybody know it. So thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yes, we started in 2012 and quickly scaled a portfolio. We do residential development primarily, but Kiara's a licensed realtor. I got my construction license.
Don't tell nobody.
We try to vertically integrate and get things done.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love this. So look, YouTube, as you guys can see, we have a well-versed panel of experts here. And how long have you guys been, investing in Baltimore?
Yeah, so we started investing in 2012. Our first deal in Baltimore, we were actually gone after graduating college. Khalil was born and raised from Baltimore. We moved back home for him and started buying in Baltimore in 2013, at which point over the years, by the time we were 30, we had over 20 rental units. Bought the block in Baltimore, so we had quite a few residential development projects going on. Right now, we are involved in probably too much as far as development happening in Baltimore, and of course, always really looking to not only invest and be able to build wealth and income and all that kind of stuff for ourselves, but also add value in the city in which we invest. So we're really big on making sure that we are adding value to Baltimore as much as we're earning value as investors, and making sure that other people know how to do the same the right way. So it's not only just us doing deals and doing development and working with the city or the state or nonprofits or for-profits or wherever we're being pulled at the moment, but also making sure all of our mentees and our Next Gen Accelerator, all of our folks are have everything they need to be successful. They're buying back the blocks that their doggone selves. So they're keeping us busy as well.
Yeah, and at this point, our Next Gen Accelerator, man, they are cruising. They're doing some amazing stuff. 2 out of every 3 Next Gen Accelerators purchase a house within 3 months of finishing the program. We've got an annual rental revenue of $1 million plus for our Next Gen Accelerator combined. We're doing some things down in Baltimore, making sure that it's not what you see on TV. We can stand up for real this time.
Listen, I love that, man. 3 months after entering your program, people are executing on transactions. That's a beautiful thing. No analysis paralysis allowed.
No, not at all. And we actually have an application process. We're not just out here having people join for anything. We want people to come in who are ready to take action, execute, and buy back Baltimore.
I'm waiting on my offer, Kiara.
I know. I had someone in Next Gen buying a house that she has right now. And girl, I've been busy today. I'm gonna say that. That's why I said don't tell nobody I'm licensed. I like to refer this.
And I think I can vouch for your program as well, because several of your Next Gen, what do you call them? They're
a Next Gen family. We call them family. They are cousins.
Family. I mean, halfway through, they're reaching out like, Jojo, I need a property in Baltimore. So I can vouch for those numbers. You guys are definitely, I love it.
Awesome.
Yep.
I love it. So let's get this. So let's get this started. First, I want to give a big shout out to my brother Andre Hatchett with the super chat on YouTube. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Now look, YouTube folks, right? I need y'all to really, 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 really pay attention to me right now. I need all of y'all. It's about 130 of y'all in this right now all of y'all go smash that like button. That way the YouTube algorithms will push this video out to the YouTube world. So that way people can get these gems, because listen, I'm excited. I think the gems are about to drop at a high velocity. So you guys need to make sure you hit that like button. So let's start this. Let's kick this off, right? Let's start with Lily. Let's start with Northern Virginia, Lily. How has the market been with COVID-19? Are home prices declining in Northern Virginia? Are home prices going up? Are homes staying on the market for a long period of time? What's happening in your market if you are a first-time home buyer? Let's start with the first-time home buyers.
People are still buying. People are still buying. Inventory is super low. As you know, of course, as you know, Amazon is coming to Arlington location, so prices are not going down. The beginning of March, when the lockdown first happened, I think, you know, most people were in shock. So we kind of just all pretty much, things kind of slowed down in the beginning. Last month and this month has been pretty different. People are willing to come out. Rates are super low. So a lot of buyers are very smart and kind of understand that the same thing that happened in 2008 would not happen again. And the main reason is it's a different kind of game right now. Before COVID-19, there were less supplies already. So right now, at this point, most buyers are able to at least get contracts ratified. So people are jumping in. Sellers, however, are holding back listings, which is causing inventory to drop by 50%. So that's been the biggest issue that I see since COVID-19.
Now, what towns are you really, is there certain counties that you're really referring to when you say?
Yeah, so I work pretty much in Alexandria, Fairfax locations. So Alexandria, as well as, you know, Lawton location. Arlington is priced out. So, you know, condominium of 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo is in a $400,000 or $500,000. So most people now are buying toward the Alexandria location, which is really still close to Arlington.
Okay, so for a single family, what's kind of like the average sales price right now?
For a single family, we're looking in the high 700s, and that's if we're looking in Fairfax. If you're looking in Arlington, a single family home, easily in the millions.
Wow.
Wow.
Easily in the millions.
So it's safe to say there's no affordable homes out there, huh? There's no $200,000 properties, huh?
So what's happening right now? No, it's tough unless you're going toward Prince William, you know, to the Woodbridge locations. What's happened now is most people are realizing that pricing will keep going up, so they're still buying outside of that Alexandria, the Lawton location, which is a little bit cheaper. So people are really kind of just, you know, pushing back a little bit, but they're still buying.
So with that price point, right, if you're talking $700,000 to $1 million, I'm assuming these folks, and I'm assuming this, right, but they're putting down 20-30%, or are they using, you know, FHA loans? Like, what type of loans are
most are conventional? Most of the clients are, you know, using conventional loans. My first time home buyer program, it's called VHDA loan, which covers about 2% the down payment. So most first time home buyers would use that program. And those are the clients who are buying the condominium, the small townhouse in a $400,000. But when you're looking up to 700 and up, it's mainly conventional.
So what was that called? VHDA? It's
VHDA, yes. And it stands for Virginia Housing Development.
Okay.
So the program it's amazing. They give you 2% free grant, and the difference would be a loan. Or they could go up to 102%, where they cover 3% down payment.
So what are the qualifications for that program?
It varies on income. Income has to be below 100,000 about. Okay. You have to be a first-time home buyer. It has to be a primary home, so it can be for investment.
Is there a minimum credit score requirement?
Credit score, you know, I want to say above 660.
Okay.
At this point, I know it was about 640, but now it's about 660.
And now, are they still giving these grants out?
They are. They are.
Okay.
I actually bought my first investment property using VHDA loan. So it's an amazing program for first-time home buyers. The only thing is, if you plan to rent it out in the future or sell it, you would have to pay them back.
All right. So with the VHDA as primary residence, what's the occupancy requirement? Is it 1 year? Is it 10 years? Is it 5 years?
It's so in the beginning it was 1 year. You have to be in the property for 1 year. It still is 1 year, actually.
So 1 year occupancy requirement. You can get up to 3%, 2 to 3% for your down payment. Now, what if you don't want to use it for down payment? Could you use it for closing costs?
It's mainly for down payment.
Name for down payment, and it's a forgivable grant, down payment assistance.
Right.
Now, are there only certain, because I know some of these programs across the nation, the lender has to be approved with the program, or can any lender use the program?
Yes, the lender has to be approved with the VHDA program.
Okay, and now is that process difficult? Have you seen any new lenders come into the market and getting approved?
It's not, I mean, you have to be a little patient with that. So, you know, most of my clients, most of my sellers, for instance, want a property to be, you know, closed within 2 to 3 weeks. When you're using programs like the VHDA or the HPAP program, it takes a little longer, about 45 days. So that's the downside by using the program, but it's financially, it's really beneficial for first-time home buyers.
So typically in your market, in that Northern Virginia market, contracts, closing dates are typically 30 days on your contract, 3 weeks, 6 weeks. Like in New York, it's typically 45 to 60 days. How long are the contracts for you guys?
Depending on, you know, if it's, most of my clients are doing conventional loan, but not using any sort of grant, we're able to close it in 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then and as an agent, when I'm providing my, you know, when if I'm representing a buyer and I have a commitment letter compared to pre-approval, which is able to close in 2 to 3 weeks, I mostly would end up getting that property compared to providing them a pre-approval with a 45-day closing.
Yeah, guys, pay attention to that, man. Pre-approval letters are garbage. They're not worth the paper they're printed on in most cases. Loan commitments are cash. So that was a gem right there. And I hope you guys took notes on that one. So has COVID-19 really impacted your market at all? Besides sellers kind of holding back listings right now?
I mean, like for me, for instance, the clients I've been helping recently have been buyers, and it's been a bidding war. Which is kind of surprising because I myself was walking in thinking, okay, it's gonna be a lot easier now. And it wasn't. So what I would say for most buyer is get your game right. Have a commitment letter, make sure you're completely approved with a lender, and be aggressive. Because I do think some buyers have this mindset of, okay, you know, it's gonna be foreclosures or short sales. So they're kind of sitting back or they're trying to lowball offers. And that's not really working.
So you still have those delirious buyers out there that want to buy in the retail market and go 30% below asking.
Right. You do have some buyers who have this, you know, mindset of sellers like want to give properties out, and we're not there. So
to stand corrected, there's bidding war still during COVID-19. Homes are going over asking prices still. Now, what about appraisals? Those homes that are going after above asking price, are they appraising?
They're appraising.
So the comps are still strong. Home prices are pretty much steady or going up. So there really hasn't been this crash that's about to happen that people have been talking about, huh?
I don't see it, but what I do see is I do feel that, you know, because the number I believe is 55% of sellers are holding their listing for the next couple of weeks. So I do think spring is going to be summer's going to be the new spring. You know, once we're able to be out of this lockdown, it's going to be a lot more listings in the market hitting. So
when America reopens, there's going to be a buying frenzy in your market.
I forecast that.
People got cabin fever, man. They won't go outside. So they're gonna want to buy.
Yes. Yeah.
They're sick of their husbands, or they're sick of their wives, they're sick of their kids. Like, everyone's over this. So I think I've been telling people, look, I think by July 4th, the entire America will be reopened again. Whether you're still social distant or not, it's going to be open. And I think there's going to be so many people out there that get their jobs back, that want to take advantage of these low interest rates And I think that's going to set off a frenzy that we've never seen before, me personally.
Mhm. And one thing I want to add, Matt, is, most people who are listing their property right now, they don't want to keep showing their home to 10, 20 people, right? So as a buyer, if you have a solid offer with a solid commitment letter, you most likely will get it. Whereas in the past, they were waiting to do open house. They were waiting, they had the property in the market for quite some time to get the best offer. Right now, if you do put a solid offer, you're going to get it.
Wow, amazing. So let's head across the highway or whatever, the bridge or whatever you call it, right? Let's go to DC right now. Let's go to, what do you call it, the Chocolate City, right?
That's what it's been known as, the Chocolate City.
Let's go to the chocolate. Let's go.
Pretty chocolate latte. Moved here.
So let's head over to the Chocolate City real quick, right? What's going on in your market for the first-time home buyers? Are there grants available, down payment assistance? Like, what's happening right now?
Yes, one thing that I love about DC proper is it has so many tools available for people to buy. Like, the programs are endless. I'm always learning about new programs. We have HPAP program, DC Open Doors, EHPAP, we have Wells Fargo Home Lift, inclusionary zoning program, which is one of my favorite ones, Manor House. There's so many different ones. For example, like the inclusionary zoning program, most people, DC proper residents, they know about that for the rental program, because you have to have fixed income rates. It's usually people who are making below 65,000, young professionals, things of that nature. But what most people don't know is with that same free class that you go to, you get a certificate that qualifies you to purchase a house inside of the inclusionary zoning program that is always going below market rate. And you have to live in it for a minimum of 5 years, from what I know from the last time I checked in. But if you go to sell it, you have to sell it back below market rate. So it's not a way to like come up or use it as an investment tool. It's a way to just have a comfortable, stable, affordable residence to live in.
So wait a minute. So you said within 5 years, you have to sell it below market rate? What?
The same way when you came into the program, how you buy it below market rate, you sell it back into the program, kind of like uplifting another person if you want to move out of it.
Nah, chill. We don't like that program. I'm sorry. What's the name of that program?
Inclusionary zoning program.
No. We don't like that program.
Outside of the programs, I'm having a lot of first-time home buyers coming out of the woodwork. Most of my business for DC proper is like young couples, newlyweds, and they've already been saving and we're shopping, and I'm seeing the same things as Northern Virginia. I actually live in Northern Virginia on the line in Alexandria. So, and my office is in Logan Circle, and I'm taking people around and we're coming into the same things. Bidding wars, lower inventory. I'm actually starting to market. I'm using wholesaler strategies in order to market to get more listings. So I would say right now my business is 50-50 with listings and with buyers. And I'm actually seeing my investors come out of the woodwork. So I have a little bit of everybody right now that's moving and shaking.
I'm still stuck on this selling my house back below market value. Like whose idea was that? Who thought of that? Like, how does that even make sense? So if I buy this property and it appreciates by $500,000, you trying to tell me I got to sell it less than that?
You got to put it back into the program, because the only houses that they can purchase are ones that are approved for that program.
We have stuff like that in Baltimore too. You have to have a mixed level of housing, because everyone, you have low income residents who still deserve to have ownership. And so you might not be able to max out your equity. You can still build some, but you can't max it out. And that's the way you kind of make sure that there's affordable housing that people can actually own and have and call their own, versus having affordable like apartments that you have to, you know what I mean, be on like, a voucher program or something like that. So it's an avenue to create home ownership at income levels that you couldn't typically have. So I'm with you. We can have that program.
That's a lot of gentrification as well. So most of us are huge on that, with the gentrification, that it's a give back. It's reach back and pull your brother up, What I mean?
It is. And the gentrification is a trigger word for me. No, well, no, it's a trigger word for me because if we look at the definition, it means a shift in socioeconomic standpoint, and we can gentrify our own neighborhoods. I need people to understand that because there was
about race and more about economics. I totally agree.
Yeah, it is. It's not about, you know, whatever your hue is, because there was a petition going around DC saying stop gentrification. And I'm like, bro, you buy the block. Right now, I'm telling all my first-time home buyers who are shopping below that 450 range in DC proper, Northeast, Anacostia, Suitland, that whole, buy it up, okay? Get a realtor like me, because I look at the investor standpoint and I will do an analyzation of that entire hyper-local neighborhood. I'm farming around the purple line, which is scheduled to be released in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that whole southern border with Silver Spring, Suitland, Capitol Heights.
So hold on. You're speeding right now. Right? Because you're speeding. We going to the left right now. I know the conversation about to get good right now, but hold on. You can't be talking purple. You can't be talking. You got to explain, LaDonna, what is the purple line in DC? Because I did something about this, a write-up. A friend of mine did a write-up, and it's pretty dope what's happening. But I want you to explain the purple line to the folks.
Okay, the purple line is, everyone in DC, they know about the metro. So the major metro line is the red line and the yellow line. So the purple line is going to wrap around Southern Maryland on the western side of DC, the side that hasn't shifted economically yet. And I want to give some context here. Northwest and Southwest DC, everyone knows that the wharf just got renovated and prices over there skyrocketed. Everything's over like $1 million. So Northwest and Southwest DC 5 to 6 years ago was the same price points that Southeast and Northeast DC are right now. That is within 6 years. You cannot buy a condo in Northwest DC, Columbia Heights area, heading up towards 16th, 14th Street towards Silver Spring for less than 500,000. That's where that's at. 5 to 6 years ago, there was row houses going for below 300,000. So with right now with COVID dropping interest rates for many people below 3%, and with all those different DC proper programs that are going on, and I'm gonna go back into the gyms where if you have a life insurance policy or a 401k and you're having trouble with closing costs, talk to your professionals that are managing those so that we can figure out how to pull out to assist with closing costs if you don't qualify for one of these programs, and start buying around Anacostia River. Start buying in that area. They just opened a Busboys and Poets over there. You have Whole Foods coming up over there. We have 3 3 hospitals getting opened up in southern PG County in the Suitland area within the next 3 years. All of those things, plus with Amazon HQ1 being in Crystal City, and then on the other side, Kensington, Maryland, HQ2 coming in, all of that determines economic growth, which means there's going to be more jobs for people in the next 5 years once COVID lifts out. And I need people to stop looking right in front of them, 5 feet in front of them, and start looking the long term of what's going on in our community. Because us living here in the DC Metro, we are sitting on a gold mine. Let me repeat, this is a gold mine.
So look, check this out. So Anacostia, that's Southeast DC, correct?
Yes.
So that's seeing a huge development, a huge increase in development in that Southeast DC area. Are there still opportunities, you know, because obviously the big time developers now, is that OZ, our opportunity zone?
Yes, so actually the DC Metro, the whole DMV, we're the second largest in the nation to have the most opportunity zone qualified areas. Majority in PG County. And, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, with that being said, are there still opportunities for the small time investors to get in and take opportunity to develop out?
Majority of the DC local investors that I know, they for the last 18 months, they've been buying up like Suitland, Capitol Heights, District Heights, Friendship Heights, that whole area, like hotcakes. Wholesalers are farming the heck up out of that area. Flippers are moving weight over there. Like they're buying houses for 150,000, putting them back in the market at 3 something.
That's in DC or Maryland?
That's just right over the bridge in Southern Maryland and PG. So it's like you could throw a rock. Like it's right on that line. which is
So Maryland has one of the biggest populations of wealthy Black people, right? Maryland has a lot of affluent Black communities. Now, where are the opportunities for someone who can't really afford DC or can't afford Northern Virginia, right? Hold on, you unmuted. Hold on, what you said? Hold on, let me unmute you. I ain't hear you.
We trying to like play nice while like Northern Virginia and DC talk, knowing half their residents are moving to Baltimore. But it's okay. I'm gonna let y'all finish.
Thanks, Kanye West.
We coming to be more next. Hold on.
I appreciate that, Kanye West.
They jump on that little 35, 40-minute train ride and skip all that traffic and be good in Baltimore. We got good food too, sis.
Oh, look, I'm telling you, I've been up there all week. I have cash investors buying up Baltimore right now. So I want to connect with y'all.
Yeah, we should. We definitely should.
I love this. So where are the opportunities in that Maryland area to where someone can come if they can't afford Northern Virginia, they can't afford DC, they don't want to go to Bmore because they want to be close to their commute. Where are the areas, what communities should a first-time home buyer be looking in to purchase their first home, or even if they wanted to invest? Like, where are the good counties?
Southern PG County, the Suitland, Capitol Heights, District Heights, Friendship Heights, that whole area, because it's so close to the DC line, it's the easy route for, it's metro accessible, which is really important for majority of people around DC proper, because a lot of people do not drive. You have the availability to get a house below 350,000, which with the average salary for like a government workers around here is around like 60,000-ish. So, and they also have government employee programs that they can qualify for. So I recommend those areas because that's going to be from my economic development analysts of studying the market. It's going to be where the next pop is going to be at for people. And it's affordable for first-time home buyers, where if you want to start a little family or something, you're going to have the space and not break the bank.
Lily, let me ask you this too, because I didn't ask you this question, right? Where are the good areas where someone can buy? Let's say they don't have a $700,000 to $1 million budget, right? But they want the single family home. They don't want the condo, right? Where can they go?
You know, I agree. So when it comes down to Virginia, I would say the Lorton location, Springfield, like West Springfield is really, it's awesome. Some parts of the Richmond Highway, Alexandria, they have properties that, you know, that may need some work, but would definitely grow in value. In DC, I want to add in DC, she's completely right. Like in Southeast, I do honestly think Southeast Anacostia is going to be Georgetown in the next 20 years. You know, it's just, that's how Georgetown used to be. And it's amazing because I have a lot of international clients buying properties in Southeast cash, like the new townhomes and W Street. So they're seeing that already from different places. So I don't know why people who live in DC don't see it, the value of it.
I'm gonna say it's the status,
it's a mindset of how we used to be.
Mindset. I'm from the South. I'm from South Florida. I don't have that. If it's a deal, my numbers work, I'm gonna make me some money in less than 5 years. My joint about to double.
Right.
I'm with it.
Right.
Say less. I'm gonna hop on that metro, and that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? I'm also
I agree.
Because that's right over the bridge from Alexandria, but also it's not too far away from downtown DC.
Right. Right. And the good thing about DC is the HPAP program. I've helped so many clients with the HPAP program. I mean, they're getting about $30,000 down payment assistance. So I mean, it's if you put your mind into it, you can literally buy a house in DC without putting a penny out of your own pocket.
And sometimes even get some money back.
Right. And then with taxes, some of the first-time home buyers get 5-year tax off.
I haven't seen 5 years.
Wait, hold on, Lily. Hold on. You talking some gems right there. Explain that real quick.
So with HPAP program, what happened is if you do an HPAP program and you're a first-time DC buyer, you could get up to 5 years off from paying property taxes based on your income.
And what's the name of this program again?
HPAP.
HPAP.
HPAP. Mm-hmm.
What does that stand for?
It stands for, it's Home Purchase Assistant.
Okay.
Ask me that. Yeah, home. Yeah, but it's an awesome. I mean, it's very tough to get it done, and I know you guys probably dealt with that too. But it's an amazing program in DC for first-time buyers.
I love it. Look, Go ahead.
Real quick, there's a program here in Baltimore. It's the chat program.
We ain't got there yet.
Oh, all right.
No, we did. I was about to come to y'all anyway, so let's keep it going.
It's real similar, right? It locks in the current assessed value of a property, and then once you rehab and fix it up and the property value skyrockets, it provides a tax credit to pay the difference between what it was and what it is now, right? So say you assess a property at 10,000, you fix it up.
Right.
Now
Remember, 10,000, that's US dollars in Baltimore, but go ahead.
Say that the current assessed value of a vacant property, 10 grand, you fix it up, is worth 250 grand, right? This tax credit, as long as you rehab the house in a way that preserves its historic nature, will pay the difference between that $10,000 price and that $250,000 property tax. So you're still paying that $10,000 assessed value property tax across 10 years.
So they give you a tax abatement based off of the acquisition price, not the ARV.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah, it keeps your property taxes low for that 10-year period. And so in Baltimore, the taxes are actually relatively high. So you go from, we can buy like a shell property for 10 grand, and the taxes might be $100 a year. But when we renovate it, it could easily be up to $4 grand a year. And so keeping those taxes low helps keep the house affordable for first-time home buyers or whomever if you're selling. But if you keep it as a landlord or something like that, it also keeps your cash flow up because you're not paying as much in those taxes during that 10-year period. So it's similar. That's why I was asking, like no taxes or like bring it down. So in Baltimore, we can bring it down.
What's the name of that program?
Commission for Historic and Architectural Preservation.
So it's CHAP, chat.
Yep, CHAP.
YouTube earners, I hope y'all taking notes on this one, because I'm gonna have to come back on a replay and write all of this stuff down, because this is some powerful information. So let's talk to Jojo real quick, right? Let's talk about, you're in the Baltimore market, you're a realtor, you're working with a lot of first-time home buyers. What other programs are out there for the first-time home buyer that hasn't been impacted by COVID-19?
That has not been impacted. So we still have CDBG, which is the Community Block Development Grant. Kiera, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Community Block Development Grant, and that gives $5,000 towards the down payment. We have, and it's coming up really soon. I'll give you the date. I'm going to pull it up. The Live Baltimore Trolley Tour, which gives another $5,000 towards anybody purchasing in the city. Right now, we also have MMP, Maryland Mortgage Program, which gives between $5,000 and $7,500 towards first-time home buyers. But the big one that I'm so excited about right now, because MMP may or may not go away, we're still seeing how it's working. But we have the NHS Community Redevelopment. What is it? Wait, I'm losing it. What is it?
There's too many like acronyms right now. Like
yeah, but NHS has their program.
NHS has a program right now. It's called Project Reinvest. There is so many sometimes. Project Reinvest. And Project Reinvest is really good. They're giving like $10,000 if you buy in Baltimore City. So we have several programs. The only one right now that has been affected by COVID is MMP. And I don't want to go into details as of why, but that's the only one. But when you have NHS giving you $10,000, you don't have to worry about the $5 grand so much. And a lot of them are stackable grants, so you can walk away with a check on the table because you can stack them.
So, all right. So the grants are stackable. We love stackable grants, right? Now, how hard or how difficult is it for someone to get approved for these grants? Like, what's the credit score requirement? Like, and I know some grants, especially, and I'm not sure if this is true for Baltimore, but cities where you have an influx of investors, the grants will require you to have residency, you know, for a certain amount of years prior to being able to approve for the grant. Is it the same thing in Baltimore with these grants?
Well, the credit score that I know is 640 for most of them. most of them have an income limit. So I don't know CDBG's income limit offhand, but it's also based on how many people are in your household. So if it's a one-person household, I don't believe it's more than $70,000 a year. You said something about if you're living in the city. So all of these grants that we talked about, they are for your primary residency. You have to live in the home. You cannot be an investor. There are no grants for investors. There are no grants for investors. And then we also, what's really big in Baltimore, and I'm finding out it's not big in other cities, is that sellers give closing costs. So a lot of the offers I write, I always ask the sellers to give about 3% closing costs. That's the minimum. I mean, that's the minimum that I do. The maximum for FHA is about 6%. I don't see that as much, but I typically get about 3%, especially when I come in at the asking.
I'm glad you said that. So I'm gonna ask all three of my realtors real quick. Because Jojo, you said they're giving, sellers are willing to give sellers concessions. Now, LaDonna and Lily, in your markets is a little bit high price. Are they giving sellers concessions?
No. So for most of my buyers that I support in Virginia, we're not getting seller closing help. BC, if we do use the HPAP program, they get $4,000 toward closing costs.
Okay.
So what I do is what happened is properties don't stay in a market for long. Mm-hmm. And so that causes the issue with asking for closing costs. But if I do have investors that are buying properties that have been in the market for quite some time, then we're able to really negotiate and lower the price as well as for closing costs.
Okay, LaDonna?
For DC proper, just like Lily said, DC proper is extremely competitive. Our typical season is springtime, and it's very common for properties as soon as they hit the market the first day to be under contract by the end of the day or within 3 hours. It'll ratify. The average days on market in DC during prime time, actually majority of the year, I would say from January up until like back to school time, September would be about 7 days on the market. So they know that they're gonna get another deal that might even be more competitive. Like when COVID first hit, for my listings that I had in DC proper, I was getting very aggressive, way over asking price offers just out the gate, sight unseen, like ratified contracts within 24 hours, had 8 offers as soon as it hit the market. Jeez. A lot of really aggressive stuff going on in DC proper. But then in Southern Maryland and PG County, I do typically get closing cost assistance depending on the deal, typically around 3% closing cost assistance for my first time home buyers. So it's not as aggressive. There will be multiple offer situations. I do run into that very often in Southern Maryland, but I mean, everything's negotiable.
All right, cool. So look, I'm gonna take a question from the Zoom from one of the EYLU members, Alice Freeman. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Let me unmute you. Go ahead, you can talk, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yep, did I butcher your name?
Yeah, it's Elise.
Elise, see, I'm always butchering somebody's name. My bad.
It's cool, it happens a lot. So I wanted to ask, are there any DC programs that's good for investors?
Who are you asking that to?
Stokes, Miss Stokes.
LaDonna.
LaDonna.
I don't know of any DC proper programs that are used for investors. I do know of some agent investors who got a little nifty with the NACA program. They got a little creative with that, and that typically takes a long time. Average closing time for NACA is about 50 days plus.
Forever.
I know some people who got creative with that. You can also get creative with the 203K loan, but that's not a program assistance type thing, because condo conversions are very popular in DC. So you can turn a row house into a multifamily if you want to try that house hacking deal. But I don't know any for investors off the rip. My tip would be find some people that you can trust to partner with and do some JVs and use other people's money.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. All right, so look, let's go to Charmcity Buyers, right? Because everybody in the comments on YouTube, they're talking about investing. You guys are talking about investing. So first time home buyers, we gave y'all enough information for the DMV. Rewind this later to get all the acronyms that we said for all these grants, and or hit these ladies up directly. First of all, I just noticed this panel is like wonderful. You know what I'm saying? I love having dope women come on this panel and really like do what they got to do and represent. So, you know, big ups to you guys first and foremost.
I kind of wanted to give some Baltimore stats on the housing market. Can I do
Go
that?
right ahead. Go ahead, give your stats.
Oh, it's in my phone.
Let's do it.
So I looked this up for you guys. So in Baltimore, how we've been affected by COVID, I think kind of like everybody in the beginning, everybody was like, oh, what's going to happen? And then as time progressed, we were able to just get out there, keep going. Because we're essential, we've just been moving, but just keeping social distancing. So we are still in a seller's market. Buyers thought they were going to dominate. They are not, because the inventory is so low. Even with inventory being low in Baltimore City, new listings have increased about 16%. So
wow,
that's a good thing. The closings have increased about 29%. So we're still closing deals. We're still not having many issues with the financing. And this is a really good one that I just wanted to share before we forgot about this. As of May 3rd, $268 million worth of real estate was under contract. Sorry, my phone blows up.
Get that money.
Stop. I have a duplex on the market right now for less.
No, I have an offer for you. Just let me fill out the paperwork, sis.
I don't have an offer in my
How much is that?
How much is this duplex?
I have buyers for Be More.
It's a duplex. It's in Northeast Baltimore, which is a residential neighborhood. There are plenty of homeowners. Someone did the house hacking thing on this property. It's a 2-unit. The basement apartment, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, rents for $1,100. And then the upstairs unit is vacant. I kind of kept that vacant for a reason, because I was like, okay, maybe somebody will come in. There'll be an investor that wants to live and rent it out.
It's like the offer that I'm sending you later.
Girl, you better get them Twitter fingers going.
I ain't got, look, I'm about to call somebody, like, I'm gonna call one of my friends. Can you do this paperwork for me? I hate doing paperwork.
Girl, get them I have a system, girl.
Actually, I don't, this is why nobody knows I have a license, because I don't like doing this stuff. I just refer it out. I don't have time. Or I list my own stuff. I don't.
So Baltimore for the first time home buyer is still moving.
It's still
oh, for sure.
I had a closing today. I thought I was going to be late for this meeting, and I was a listing agent on this one. We put this under contract in 2 days. 2 days it was under contract. I have this duplex. We've already received 3 offers. Ignore Kiera; she is not one of those offers. But we received 3 offers. But I listed Wednesday. We've had like 20 showings, and people just keep calling and asking questions.
What's the potential rent roll on that?
Well,
Yeah, good question.
The first floor unit rents for $1,100 right now. My property management company manages, so I know that. I know the tenant is really good. The second floor unit will go for about $1,150. It's not separately neat.
You said 100K.
It's listed at 140.
140.
So 140 bringing in over 2,000 a month.
This is Baltimore numbers. You hear me?
Baltimore numbers, and
They're Baltimore numbers.
Pull it up right now if they are.
You better text somebody, tell them drop the link in the live chat, sis.
Yeah, we're gonna have to connect offline on that, because I'm bringing my investor up on Sunday, and he's looking for a multifamily to invest in.
I'll have my paperwork done by then.
Wait, hold on. So I want to break this right. I want to break this down for the first time home buyer real quick, right? So bear with me on this one. What's the sales price on this?
140 is the asking price.
So we got 140 asking price, right? Hold on, let me get my calculator out, right? Because I really,
Can I get the address?
Let me see. So we got 140 is the sales price.
140 is the sale price.
All right. So let's just say today's interest rate. Let's just call, if you're doing an FHA loan, first time home buyer, let's call it 3%, right? How much are the property taxes?
Ooh, wait a minute. Don't ask me questions like that I'm not ready for.
Hey, we gonna get these numbers, because we want to know the numbers.
Because I'm gonna pull it up and send it to him, because he's in Baltimore right now driving through blocks. So just let him go check that out.
All right, so for your first-time home buyers, 3.5% down payment on this 140 price is $4,900. All right.
I'm sorry. It is $3,835.
And typically, how much is the insurance out there? About $1,000 a year.
Yeah, you'll probably pay about $1,800 for that duplex.
So $1,800 for insurance, right? So we're looking at a mortgage payment of $1,150, and you're probably coming out of pocket as a first-time home buyer between down payment and closing costs, call it $10,000.
And then there's a tenant in the first floor unit that currently pays $1,100 a month on time.
So listen, YouTube earners, I hope you really paid attention to this.
Real quick too, because you had that $10,000 down. Well, Baltimore has so many different grant programs. Some are credit-based, some are income-based, some are nothing at all. There's grants that you don't have any income requirements, where you get your free money for your closing costs or your down payment, including homes that have been recently renovated. So there's $10,000 if you get a house that has just been flipped, period, just because it's been flipped,
As
right?
long as it's been vacant for a year.
As long as it's been registered as vacant by Baltimore City for a year, someone comes in and renovates it, now you get $10,000 to go towards your whatever, goes towards anything. So people walk away from the closing table with cash all the time. I've had next gen people end up with $36,000 to go to closing and buy 4 units with no money out of their pocket, with tenants already in the property. So it's, that $10,000 may or may not actually have to come out of your own pocket.
Baltimore's lit.
Yeah, Baltimore is definitely lit. So look, hold on. So we got, if this is a first-time home buyer, they can get all this free money.
Free money.
The tenant is paying $1,100. Your mortgage is only going to be $1,150. So you coming out of your pocket with $50.
Maybe, because you might get your earnest deposit back.
So you coming out of pocket on a monthly basis with pretty much no money, living for free, and then when you move out of that bad boy, now you're making $1,100 in profit every single month.
Cash flow. That's nice.
Shit, I think we all going to Baltimore right now.
I got a couple of houses for you to come move into right now.
Listen, I'm on a decent sized project. They're pre-selling houses. Every week it's another pre-sale.
Yeah, it's probably been 6 pre-sales of new development houses. It's historic homes, right? So it's shells of homes. So most of the house is brand new except a few of the walls. And people are buying them they're all pre-sold before we start the renovation, or before Close starts the renovation. So things are moving and moving quickly. Probably 6 houses have been pre-sold this month.
Ever since COVID. It's like people are getting off the sideline. They're sitting at home bored, ready to spend money, thinking about all their long-term dreams and finally wanting to execute.
And getting a bunch of free money all the way through for brand new houses.
Wow, wait a minute, hold on. So first of all, big shout out to M. Bailey on YouTube with the $50 super chat. We really appreciate that. This is incredible right now. Hold on, let me get this question from Bilal over here at EYL University. Bilal, talk to us, man.
What's going on, Matt?
Alive and blessed. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm living. I'm in DC, living in DC right now, and where am I at? Down here, downtown. But I put an offer in Baltimore literally yesterday in Mount Vernon.
Okay.
So I just kind of had a question for the Baltimore crew, the Charmcity group there. Should I be looking at Mount Vernon? I know it's a really nice area. I lived in Baltimore probably 2 years ago, but as for seeing my property appreciate, is that a good area, or should I be looking somewhere else where you guys are doing maybe more redeveloping?
Yeah, so I mean, Mount Vernon's a great place to be looking and buying. It depends on what kind of appreciation you're talking about, right? So Mount Vernon is definitely further along in the development cycle of a neighborhood for sure. So if you think you're going to double in price in the next 3 years because you've been in DC, you're probably not in the right spot. But in general, Mount Vernon's definitely a great place to earn, probably get really great tenants. I'm assuming that your house has probably been relatively renovated. There's not a ton of, complete redevelopment homes over there. So it's probably a great place for a stable investment and to come in and feel comfortable and be able to put a tenant in and cash flow. If you're looking to appreciate or you're looking to force appreciation through renovation, Mount Vernon probably isn't the spot for that. But it's still a great spot to invest. We tell people you can go north, south, east, or west. It don't matter at this point in Baltimore because there's so much stuff going on.
And Mount Vernon is central. So one thing about that area, it's going to hold its value. You don't have to worry about fluctuating and all that type of stuff. You're really close to University of Baltimore. You're close to downtown. You're in a solid spot.
Yeah, so it's definitely a good offer, but you have to understand. We'll talk to people about like figuring out what your goals are, and then creating your strategies, and then your neighborhoods in Baltimore are going to kind of come out of those things. But yeah, congratulations on submitting the offer.
Hope it works.
Yeah, appreciate it. Actually, when I say I put in the offer, I got it. The offer got accepted. So I was just kind of, it was my first time home purchase, so I was kind of got a little bit of cold feet. I was like, let me hop on this live real quick just to see what's going on.
Go hard or go home, man.
Go hard or go home. I love that. What's the sales price? Tell us some numbers.
It's a duplex. It's at it's 280, and I got 3% closing costs.
Okay.
And then the downstairs is already rented out for, I think it's $800 a month right now. So it's a studio apartment on the downstairs. The upstairs rents for $2,000.
Okay. Are you house hacking, or are you just that's an investment?
No, I'm a house hack. I'm going to live in it. My boy's going to move in with me. I'm going to charge him $800, get $800 from the downstairs tenant, and I'll be pretty much covering my mortgage.
So quick tip, since you are looking to move into the house, all those grant programs and things that Jojo and Khalil and I were just talking about, in order to qualify for any of those, you have to go to home ownership counseling. So you can do that online, but it takes usually about like a week to a week and a half to go through the entire process and get your housing certificate. That will qualify you for all those grants. Get your free money. Don't rush, right? Get your free money to take advantage of all those types of things by going to homeowners counseling. And then if you haven't gotten anything under contract by the end of the month, May 20th, there's a virtual house tour by a nonprofit called Live Baltimore, LIVE Baltimore. You can go on livebaltimore.com and register. Going to that, they actually give a lot of their attendees, it's like a raffle, but a lot of people get it. It's $5,000 to go towards your down payment or your closing costs. So you want to try to be able to stack some, we like free money over here. So.
Yeah, because I saw it was NHS looked straight, but then the lottery system was just kind of I was like, how many people actually get it? I thought it was like maybe just a couple.
But don't sell yourself short. Look into things. People get it. We have someone that's under contract for one of the houses that we renovated ourselves that's getting the NHS rebuilt. Now I forgot what it's called. Rebuilt, whatever. Project Rebuild. And so we have someone getting that. They're getting the vacancy value because we flipped the house. They're getting a bunch of stuff on top because we're big on making sure people get the money. So we told him, we got an offer. We said, nope, keep your paperwork, go get the housing counseling, get the free money, and then we'll sign it. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bilal, are you already under contract for the property?
I wouldn't think so. It's my first time, so I don't know too much. But my realtor told me called me today and said they accepted the offer, but I didn't sign any more paperwork.
Okay, under contract. If it's possible, I would rewrite it.
Not all sellers are like us.
You can say that because he's not licensed, but some of those programs you can't be under contract before completing your home buyers program and your home buyers course. So talk to your lender and find out, okay, now that I have the house and I am under contract, what do I qualify for? Can I get the Maryland mortgage program? Because some of them you can't. And Kiera, I'm sorry, I love you, but I hate the term free money. I hate it.
That's okay, because I hate gentrification, sis. We're on the same page.
Yeah, good. Let me spitball with y'all after the chat. I don't want to take up everyone's time.
Oh, I just feel free. Some of them are grants. But some of them are givable loans. And I just want people to always know that sometimes if you sell your house before a certain amount of time, they will want their money back. So I just
1,000%. Absolutely. You're 100% right. Yep. We got to be clear. I'm all about that.
Yeah, but I would definitely recommend before you sign contract, make sure you put in your due diligence so that way you can take advantage of all the opportunities that's available for you to kind of stack these programs.
Yeah.
And, keep some money in your pocket. This is another form of OPM that we're speaking about, right? So you want to use every opportunity that's available to you, brother.
Yeah.
Got you. Perfect. Thank y'all so much. I'm going to get on this right now.
All right, and I'm gonna put my text. You have my cell?
I think it's in the group, UIL group, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the Zoom chat too. So just shoot me a text and we can talk about this more offline. But after we finish the YouTube live, I can put you back on and you can talk to the panelists after we finish with the YouTube live.
Okay, appreciate it.
No problem. That's another benefit of EYL University. You folks on YouTube, once we cut this off, the conversation is going to keep going. So if you want to become a member of EYL University, you know what to do. Use my annual discount code and you can join EYLMG. All right. So look, let's get to this investing thing because everyone's in the comments going crazy right now. Let's talk about Section 8. Let's talk about land. First of all, is Baltimore, Maryland, DMV landlord friendly or tenant friendly? How long does it take to get rid of somebody? Go ahead.
Before or after COVID?
Yeah, right.
No. COVID now, no one can get evicted, but I'm just talking about if this wasn't COVID.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing, you can get someone, and as long as there's not like delays or issues, if you know what you're doing, get somebody out probably in like 90 days. In Baltimore on average, it probably takes about 90 days.
What about DC?
Okay, DC is an L. All right, DC is extremely tenant friendly. There's TOPA laws where, let's say you're a landlord and you're trying to sell your house, the current tenant gets first right of refusal on purchasing the house.
We have that in Baltimore as well.
They do?
Mm-hmm.
But,
if you put the property on the market.
Someone could camp out on your property in DC for like 4 to 6 months, and possibly even longer, without even paying rent before you can get them out. So my recommendation is to have an extremely tight lease agreement on the front end and vet the hell out of your tenants before you allow them. And I mean, vet them to the 9th degree. And then in Virginia, it's practically the South, so you could get somebody out within 30 days. I had to get someone out right before COVID. I had to get my tenant out right before COVID, so that was a blessing.
So VA and B-more is landlord friendly. You ain't paying. Marshall coming to your door in 30 days.
Yep.
DC 6 months, but if the tenant knows the rules in the game, then the tenant can stretch that out to a year plus.
You can camp out. And even in Virginia, you could get someone out in 5 days, pay or quit.
Oh, wow.
Pay or quit notice.
That's exactly what happened to because one of my properties, I had a tenant, she was getting government assistance. And usually I do a great job with being able to do the credit check, the background check, but with this lady, I felt really bad because she was in a very bad situation. And so I was getting the rent every month from the government, the Virginia assistant. When she got a job, they cut that off. So when they cut that off, she stopped paying me. And so the first couple of months, she had a couple of kids. So the first couple of months, I was just kind of giving her time to pay it. But the minute that I got the sheriff involved, in 5 days, it was done.
Yep.
Wow.
Also viewed at Virginia, it's landlord friendly.
I mean, all of this sounds better than New York. Let me just keep it 100 with you. Like New York, it could take 2 years to get somebody out of your property.
Wow.
Yeah, New York is just a whole different monster. The tenants own your property here, basically. Like it's a different world.
I will say you have to know what you're doing in Baltimore, but there are, we call professional tenants in Baltimore that will give you a run for your money. So if that's when you really start to get wrapped up in Baltimore, if they know when to just go ahead and pay, to wait until if it's 90 days, they'll wait until the 89th day, not pay again, you got to start over. It's a whole nother 90 days.
Oh, no. That's when you disconnect their way to pay, because as soon as you accept payment, then that's when it voids your eviction. So disable their form of payment so they can't pay you.
Absolutely, but you can't if they pay the full amount. So they have up until when the sheriff comes to pay the full amount. So don't take pieces, but you have to accept the full thing if they can give it to you.
Yeah. I know in Maryland that there's a couple of laws for landlords that if they don't pay, you can do a body attachment to the contract where you can get the tenant arrested and they will be confined if they don't pay their rent. And you can also do pay garnishment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can definitely do pay garnishment in Baltimore as well.
So how do you set up the pay garnishment?
An attorney.
Yeah,
You set that up with an attorney.
the judge.
The court.
The courts.
And how long does that take to go into effect?
I don't know.
Rougher in a day.
I have never had to go there with my tenants.
Yeah, I haven't experienced it. I just know.
Lily, you experienced that before?
They put a garnishment. They on her credit score, on her credit report, they put some sort of garnishment, but we never
Never got the money.
got the
The pay platform that I use for my tenant, it automatically reports to the credit bureaus as they pay rent.
Oh, that's good.
What's the name of the service, LaDonna?
Cozy.
Yeah, use Cozy Co.
Spell it out for the people.
COZY.
Hey, we gotta look. We gotta spell it out for people. People don't know how to spell sometimes, man.
I don't know if any other property managers do this, but what I do, and I feel like I'm almost known for it, it's rare that a tenant gets a year lease out of me. I mean, because I just don't have time to play those games with tenants. So I'm known for doing like 6-month leases. And
Really?
Why? What's your strategy behind that, Jojo?
I mean, I even have a lady right now on a 4-month lease because you have to be careful of professional tenants in Baltimore. They come in, they're so eager, you know what I mean? And they have everything. Sometimes they make pay stubs. I just got fake pay stubs the other day.
I've had fake pay stubs before. I'm like, sis, this EIN is not valid. You don't need this number.
You know I'm Jamaican, man. I be looking at stuff sideways.
Dude, I was Googling, I was like, this address don't exist.
It doesn't.
I don't know, man. That's crazy.
The job that you do,
Yo!
I know this isn't the amount of money that you make. You know what I mean? I haven't always been a real estate agent. I too used to be a CNA, GNA. I know this is not how much you make. So I would say, okay, listen, I'm going to put you on a introduction type of lease where I want to see the type of tenant you are, you know, and I'll put you in, you got a 4-month lease. If you're not late for 4 months, I'll extend it another 4 months. I want you to stay, but I don't want to play with you, straight up. And they're
That's
like,
real.
oh, yeah, that's cool.
Good idea.
Yeah,
I had 1 year a lease to one person in the last 6 months because Baltimore can be known for professional tenants. And I feel like investors sometimes are afraid of short-term leases. They're like, oh, in 6 months, I'm going to find another tenant. You're not. And if you do, it's probably because they want a good tenant anyway. We just don't want to get stuck in that year of that cat and mouse game. And if they're not good, I put them on a month-to-month lease and then I give them a 60-day notice. Like, you just have to go. You know what I mean? I just don't want to play the game with them because it's
That's another way to write your lease. I wrote my lease with a 30-day written notice for any reason. And if you break, I wrote a year lease for any reason, I can terminate it, mutual, you know, and if you choose to break your lease, then you owe me a month and a half worth of rent penalty if you choose to break it early. And I also, something after my last experience, and putting in the contract three recommendations, so that way you can be vouched.
Oh, keep calling their people and harassing them.
We'll do current home site visits. We'll like, okay, you wanna do an application? All right, let's do it at your house. Like, let's see how you live. You know what I mean? How you live at your current residence is how you're gonna live in my house. So we'll actually go meet them where they are.
Oh, wow.
Yo, listen, I ain't gonna hold y'all up, right? No BS. I ain't never heard of no 4-month lease, 6 months lease.
Let me pull one up for you right now.
Like, yo, this is different, man. What kind of people we dealing with over here, man? Like,
Baltimore is known for being tenant friendly, and people have learned how to navigate the system. And someone asked about, is everyone Section 8? No. And so you learn how to navigate the system a lot of different ways, and Baltimore is known for being tenant friendly. Like, Baltimore will give tenants free access to attorneys for rent court. And so there's a lot of different ways for tenants to be able to navigate the system. So I'm not one to say Baltimore is landlord friendly at all, but I do think that when you know what you're doing and how to do it, it's a whole heck of a lot easier, and you have a lot less issues and problems. Usually those who are like, oh my gosh, it's because they probably didn't do something right on the front end, like screen their tenants, because you should have known that they was crazy in the first place.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't always tell that they're
You
crazy.
can't always tell, but sometimes there are flags.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's red flags, right? You don't always know. Sometimes the good ones, and then you look up and you're like, what happened? But a lot of times there's flags along the way, like, Like, you know, that one time we were supposed to meet and you were like 20 minutes late coming in looking all disheveled, I probably should have wrote that down. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there's little flags that make you want to, that you should have paid attention when you look back and everything's 2020.
I agree. I definitely agree.
I think
All
so.
right, so I'm gonna bring in Tig from EYLU. You on the line, brother? Talk to us.
What up, MG? What up, people?
What up?
So what's the criteria for like, do y'all have more of an issue with investigating regular tenants versus Section 8 tenants? Do you have better outcomes with Section 8? How do y'all do that?
I'll just say in general, in Baltimore, there are plenty of programs that pay someone's rent outside of Section 8. So everyone gets very Section 8 focused. Baltimore has tons of programs that are paying people's rent. Some are better than others when it comes to their screening of who your potential tenant could be and then their oversight. So there's some programs where there's a caseworker that will come to the property and will come check on how the tenant is taking care of the property as part of the program. So there's some that are easier to manage than others, and some have a faster process to get in the door than a more traditional Section 8 where you have to go through the process of the applications and the inspections and all that good stuff as well. But the screening process for us is consistent regardless. And when we do voucher tenants, as we call them, that are not Section 8, a lot of times we'll have whoever's signing the checks also sign the lease, which definitely cuts down on issues because they're just as liable as the tenant. So that's how we manage those types of things.
Is it difficult to go through the Section 8 process and getting your home approved for a Section 8 tenant in Baltimore?
I wouldn't say difficult. I would say you have to have a certain level of renovation. Like I've seen people fail because they had cobwebs on their porch. So, you know, you have those types of things. But for us, usually the typical issue with Section 8 is that by the time you get through the Section 8 process, you don't find a cash tenant during the process. You don't feel like waiting to go through Section 8 if that wasn't like your goal to work with that type of program. So that's usually the biggest issue is just the timeline.
Do you feel? I feel like the Section 8 process is a little tedious as well.
Why?
Yeah.
Most investors are ready for, they're ready for cash. I think that there's a misconception with renters as well. Most people look at renters like, low income. Whenever they're in Baltimore, investors are always like, oh, I want to be by the colleges. And I have to remind them, renters are just maybe a few credit points. Sometimes not even credit. Maybe it's just a little savings away from buying their first house. So you have in Baltimore families, mother, father raising their children, and they're renters, and then we have to go and educate them like, hey, it's time to buy a house. But we have folks who have rented properties for years. Mm-hmm. I think that Section 8, I know a lot of investors like to go after Section 8, but at the same time, I'm like, well, you have to just be prepared to do the work so that your home is approved by Section 8. And just because you come in Baltimore and you buy this $10,000 house, you fix it up. If it's next door to two zombie houses, as my niece calls them, Section 8 is not going to approve that, so you have to be ready to do some work.
But why is that? So why wouldn't Section 8 approve it if you're next to two zombies or two bandos, but your house is beautiful?
Because they don't want to put their tenants, they don't want to put them in those neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods come with a lot more drama.
The Wire.
I actually want to say that.
Don't do that.
My bad. But that's what you basically explained to me, The Wire.
No, that's not what she said.
It exists in every city. You know what I mean? Like they do, but it's not safe also. It's also not safe. You have rodents, you have squatters. The home, sometimes the structure isn't safe. So they don't want to put their tenants in those properties. They don't want to pay rent for their people to live.
And let's be completely honest, right? A lot of those programs are really transitioning folks into Baltimore County, to be completely honest. So that's a whole other thing on especially why Baltimore City is being developed a lot, right? It's kind of creating this momentum and vacancies so that developers can come in and renovate those vacants, or the city can knock vacants down through the core program. But yeah, 100%. They will not let Section 8 folks be on a block where there are more than a couple vacant houses.
Yeah.
I want to speak on the affordable housing pieces for anyone interested in investing in in DC proper or like Southern Maryland surrounding DC. I get a lot of inquiries from people who have different kinds of vouchers, like DC choice voucher and stuff. And if you do have an investment property, please stay up and go get your house approved by the program, because you're leaving money on the table for real. I know it's different in Baltimore, but in I don't know the Baltimore market for that piece, but for the DC area, those programs will give you an allotment based off of the zip code. There's a bunch of different zip codes. So if it's a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, say your rent roll is going for, I don't know, $19.50, and they have a voucher for $2,100. You can get that for that zip code for that housing voucher. Yep. So you just maxed out. The market rates go on $19.50, but they'll give you that for that person because it's strictly based off of zip code. That's how they approve it, is through the zip code. So that's guaranteed funds. And a lot of times people have trouble, they think that people who have vouchers or are not quality tenants, but I've housed people who've had $3,000, $3,500 housing vouchers, and they're DC government employees. Mm-hmm. So they're normal, stable people in the society. They just qualified for a housing voucher because they make below $70,000 or below $60,000 or $50,000, and they have a housing voucher that they can use. But they run into a lot of hangups because there's no qualified housing available. Mm-hmm. So that's money right there.
Interesting. Let me get Sabrina from EYLU on. She has a question. Sabrina.
Yeah.
You was good.
It's good. So let me say first and foremost, I'm from New York, like I was telling y'all earlier. I graduated from Morgan State, but if you tell people in New York 4 to 6 months, they're gonna ask you to meet up with them probably so they could fight you for offering that 4 to 6 month lease. I
don't present it to them like that. So I jokingly talked about the short-term lease, but they know they have credit challenges and they know they need affordable housing. So it's presented to them in a much better way that's not degrading. You know what I mean? It's like, we want to help you. We want you to get back on your feet. You have a 6-month lease. It's a short-term lease. It's a program. I offer it to them like a program, the same way we offer programs for housing when you're purchasing houses. You have 6 months. Prove yourself. Prove that you can have a long-term lease. I mean, I have the ability to do it in my city, and it protects my investors. So
that's what's up. That was my question. So that's what I was just floored by that, because
I'm gonna let you know.
Month to month, all right, we don't even really do that either. But the year. So my question is because when I was in Morgan State, I was young. I wasn't paying attention to the market and nothing like that. So is this the norm? Is this something that you specifically, not you, maybe a few people offer? Or do people expect this in Baltimore in general? Is this somewhat of the norm?
Expect what?
Short term.
Short term?
Yeah, special terms, right.
I don't think that honestly, I think that it's something unique that I offer my tenants, but you got to find out my eviction rate though.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think you'll find it more common in, there's rooming houses and stuff throughout the city. And so you'll see short-term leases more often there than you would in a house or a multi. Usually people are on 1 year leases, at least.
All right, cool. That was my question, because I was interested in the Baltimore market.
You should, because you went to Morgan. Come back.
Yeah, I should. That's what I'm thinking. Even my parents, they have this house in New York, and I was talking to Matt about it, and it's just not conducive for them to be here anymore, as expensive as it is with the two of them getting older. So I'm trying to find different, the right market for them to go to. And Baltimore was always nice when I lived. I lived in Towson because I was right there off of Cold Spring Lane up that way. But
yeah. I'm thinking they can take 2-hour train ride, get back to New York whenever they want.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so I'll definitely be in contact with probably both of you guys, because this is good. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. I'm gonna bring Tig on. Tig has another question. Go ahead, Tig.
Yeah. Shoot. Talking to Sabrina, she messed me up because she's from the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx too. But I was gonna ask. You might have to come back to me, MG.
You had a brain freeze? Come on, Tig.
I had a brain freeze because y'all talking about 4 to 6 months stuff. Okay, hold up. It's coming. Come back to me. Come back.
One tenant had a 4-month lease. Only one.
Oh, I know what it is.
She's on a month-to-month lease. She's still there.
I know it is. So what's the breakdown of how the houses are set up in Baltimore? Are people breaking them down to like different units, like having duplexes, like breaking down a single family into a duplex, or are they doing room and houses? How are they really doing these houses in Baltimore?
You have a market of multi-family homes that were broken down years and years ago because they were big mansions when everybody was in, all the celebrities lived in Baltimore. It was the place to be, right? So you have multis from that era in Baltimore. You don't really have people buying single-family homes, chopping them up and turn them into multis. You don't have that whole thing that you do in DC. It's actually pretty difficult to go through zoning. It's a pain in the butt to go through zoning to try to rezone a single family home into a multi. So you have neighborhoods that have multis, you have single family homes, residential with a yard, detached. You have row homes in Baltimore. You do have, you talked about rooming houses. There are some areas that have rooming houses, although there is like coding and certifications and things that you need to do to have a legal rooming house. You're technically not allowed to have 4 unrelated people in one home. The history of that is ain't nobody got time for no brothel. And so you have the rooming houses, you have the multi-family homes, you have single family detached homes, you have the traditional row houses that you think of in the city. It's pretty diverse for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay. And have y'all heard about any like accessory dwelling units? Are y'all going to be zoned for that, or do y'all talk about that more?
Accessory dwelling units.
I don't know. I can't hear what you're saying.
Accessory dwelling unit, ADU.
I'm not familiar with what that is.
No, I've never heard of that. Did you say
So,
8 units?
ADU, so accessory dwelling unit. So like in California, that's a big thing where folks California passed a law where people can take like a garage and convert it into an apartment on a one family, or you can like build, like if you have enough space in your backyard, you can build a new structure where it can be a studio or one bedroom apartment. So that's a ADU.
Got it. I've seen a few of them done, but again, that's going through zoning to try to get that kind of stuff approved. It's not usually a fun process.
What I find in Baltimore, because Baltimore isn't an overpopulated city like New York and Philadelphia and DC, the need for duplexes aren't there the way it is in other cities. So we have a lot of row houses. We rent a lot of row houses. We have a lot of vacant houses that investors can come and flip, rehab, buy and hold, however they want to do it. So we're just not overpopulated. So the need for that to convert a garage into a studio is just not there yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why it's hard to rezone. That's exactly right.
Because I think we're underpopulated by like 600,000.
Well, yeah, at one point we were a 1 million person city. Now we're below 600,000, and which is why there's about $50 million to demolish vacant. So they're getting rid of vacants to decrease the inventory and kind of be a little bit more strategic about the housing available.
I'm noticing a lot of DC investors, developers shifting to Baltimore, like since the end of the year. They're starting to do projects up there.
Yeah, they have
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because at one time, within like at the end of the year, like 5 investors I knew, they're like, "Oh, I'm doing projects in Baltimore."
Yeah. Everybody's in Baltimore.
Everybody's
so much going on. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Will actually just jumped away because he's running a 50 house project, redevelopment project. So he had to jump off to get on a call. But yeah, there's a lot of big development stuff going on.
Yeah.
So Tig, you good with that question? I'm gonna bring a couple more people on.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna ask some more, MG.
All right, cool. So after the other folks, you got more, just chime back in and I'll bring you on. All right, Arthur, I'm coming to you right now, Arthur, because I know you had your hand up for a minute. Hold on, let me find you. Where are you, Arthur? Arthur, there you go. Arthur.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Peace, King.
Yeah. I was just wondering what the residency requirements are for Baltimore and for DC. I actually went to college in DC. I went to George Washington University, but I live in Florida now, and I'm very flexible in terms of where I live. Like right now, I've been looking at several different markets. I'm in Vero Beach, Florida.
Oh, I'm from Tampa.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm in Vero. I've been here for like 6.5 years. But just kind of getting my family in order. But now I'm kind of like trying to venture out. And so, you know, for me, I've never purchased a home before. I lived in New York for a decade and rented the entire time. And so now I feel like I have that first-time home buyer advantage, even though I'm not looking at it the same way, because I'm not looking for the place to live. I want to use this as an investment opportunity. So if I have to up and move to Baltimore, up and move to DC, I can do it. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, like what are the residency requirements and what's going to be what's the timing like? But if I move there, how long is it before I'm able to start taking advantage of those types of programs?
To take advantage of the housing programs, like the grant programs you talk about, you just have to take a class. So there's no one to say you have to live in Baltimore for a certain amount of time to buy, if that's your question.
I don't know of any hangups in DC either.
And so if I take a flight to Baltimore today and I can change my residency and then buy as a first-time home buyer in Baltimore or in DC after I take this class?
Yeah, I mean, you can do it from where you are if you don't want to get on the plane.
Wow.
I like that.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. That was my question. Let me go back and think a little bit. I'm sure I'll have some more.
Yeah, no, that's good. Just remember the housing counseling stuff, which you can do online as well. So you still don't have to get on the phone for that either if you don't want to.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be back, MG.
All right, Elise, I'm coming for you right now. You're unmuted.
So for the Baltimore people, what are some good areas to look to invest in for if you're looking to spend $60K or less?
You want zip codes or you want the names of the neighborhoods?
Zip codes will work.
Kiera, we get this question all the time. For me, I like 21213, that Bel Air Edison neighborhood. 21213 stretches. So God, this phone. I'm sorry, guys. I keep trying to turn it off. 21213 Bel Air Edison is perfect for under 60K, you said, or up to 60K. I also like 21216. If you're flipping, 21216 is a great neighborhood. 21207. 21218 Waverly and Better Waverly are really good neighborhoods. I'm sure I'll think of a couple other ones, so I can put it in the chat, but 21213 is probably one of my favorites. My boyfriend bought a property over there for 40 grand and he had to put 50 in, and so we're about to put that one on the market. I think he put a little bit up to 50 because there was some old electric. So we're gonna put that on the market and probably list for about 140, or we could refi. We probably won't refi just because of all the terms, but or you could refi. We can rent it out for about $1,250, and that's in 21213. So I like that neighborhood a lot.
Interesting. I hope y'all taking notes on that. You have any more questions? Okay.
No, I'm good. I'm looking to invest in Baltimore, so I'm trying to get started. So that was good. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Hold on, let me take one more question. Whoever's on this Galaxy, I'm coming to you. You're unmuted. You're unmuted, Galaxy S10.
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. What's your name?
Shakana.
Shakana, what's up? How are you?
How are you? I'm well.
Good. Talk to us.
I have a question for the Baltimore folks. I have a rental in Baltimore now. I just bought a house in DC, which I pretty much can probably say I would never buy in DC again. And I never use the word never, but I would pretty much say I would never buy in DC again just because of all of the bidding. It was like a huge bidding war and the houses are super expensive. But in DC, in Baltimore, you mentioned, I was going to ask the same question that the other young lady just asked about good areas, but I don't like to work with contractors. So I'm looking for a house that I don't have to do a lot of work in. So what area would be a good area? Right now, houses in Bolton Hill.
This is so Kiera, were you gonna answer?
No, go ahead, because I'm in the chat acting up. So go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So this is my favorite. I like when investors come in and they want to spend a little bit more instead of wanting to buy at 10,000, 20,000, and it's a lot of reasons behind it. But
it's a lot of headaches.
It is a headache. You have to have a team in place. And you have to have a real understanding of what the rent will be in certain neighborhoods. You know what I mean? You can't expect to rent for $1,300 in a war zone. But long story short, move-in ready. Some of my favorite neighborhoods for move-in ready. And somebody said that I said it so fast last time. I'll say it slowly, but it's some of the ones that I already mentioned. But then I also like to go a little further east. I love 21239. 21239 is really close to Morgan. So of course, yes, you do have the students, and then you also have families that will rent there, and they will rent for years. So 21239 is one of my favorite zip codes. That's in East Baltimore. 21212, which is East Baltimore, really close to the Towson area. I really like that neighborhood for Baltimore. Move in, turnkey, and it gets, what is the word I'm looking for? It demands higher rent. The neighborhoods are stable. The neighborhoods are healthy, quality neighborhoods that you would want to live in for a long time. You can demand more rent in those neighborhoods. You also rent to a lot of young professionals. So with that, 21212, 21239. I like 21218 as well, because that's Waverly, better Waverly. You're in that area, really close to Johns Hopkins University. And so then again, you have students, you have the folks that work at the university, that work at the, there's a hospital over there too. I'm drawing a blank for a second. And that's a really good neighborhood. I like Pigtown, or I'm a pescatarian, so I don't like saying Pigtown. I like Washington Village, which is 21230. Now you're downtown Baltimore, right? You are downtown, you're by the Ravens Stadium, you're by the Orioles Stadium, you're in the heart of all that. You wanna walk to a trendy little cafe, 21230. But I always wanna point out, and I just wanna make this so clear, when you're buying in Baltimore, remember that Baltimore is a block by block city. So I'm giving you guys zip codes, and then I need you to narrow it down. You find an address, it looks great. Do a Google, you Google the address and you do a street view. You gotta see these neighborhoods because it's so block by block. You know, right here can look like Hollywood, and then over there is a war zone. You know what I mean? So you just have to do your due diligence and do your research. Always do the street view of these neighborhoods. And I'll probably think of some more.
There's tons. Like there's properties, there's great neighborhoods all over. So in general, Baltimore property values are low, rent is high. So if you are running your numbers well, you're going to be able to find really strong ROIs on your deals. That's kind of the bottom line, whether you're in the nicest of nice areas or if you're around the way, if you know how to run your numbers, you're going to find really great deals.
Yeah, I'm getting a really good good rent for the house in Bolton Hill. Then the second question is, someone mentioned the housing vouchers. I know about the, what is that? Oh my God, that we all know that you were talking about earlier.
BHRP?
No, Section 8. So we know about Section 8, but I didn't know that there were other housing voucher programs. Can you just mention some of those?
Yeah, BHRP is one. So I thought you were going to call me out on not saying the name of that one earlier. But BHRP is one. And then you have a lot of organizations that just have housing programs where they are supporting either low income, formerly homeless, you know, addiction, things like of that nature. They have a need-based program for housing that will pay people's rent. There's also other city departments that have rental programs outside of Section 8. So, but BHRP is the one I mentioned before that has really close case managers. You have places like Catholic Charities. You have places like Youth Works. You have places like the Yes program. There's like tons. Like I could name them all day long. We have a really long list that we give folks in Next Gen just to let them navigate as they're looking for tenants. But there's a lot of them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great questions. Great questions. So look, I want to go into, you know, because Jojo, you blessed us with a lot of zip codes and everything like that for Be More. Lily, talk to us about great opportunities like areas, zip codes, towns. Where can we invest? Because, you know, and LaDonna, I want you to do the same thing too after Lily, because you guys are in a market where you have a lot of foreign nationals because of, you know, the capital. So a lot of those folks come in for short-term rentals as well and will probably pay premium. So what are the hot areas for investors if they want to invest in you guys' market? Starting with you, Lily.
I mostly advise my investors to look at locations where they could build equity as well as get cash flow. So places like Ashburn, for instance, where they have the metro coming in, it's supposed to be this summer actually. Those places are great places to buy where you see equity going up in the next couple of years. In addition to that, you could always have a good cash flow by renting the basement out or renting the top part out. So I definitely recommend Ashburn. DC wise, I recommend Northeast, like Deanwood, Southeast, Congress Heights. These are places where I do think the next 10 years, it's gonna definitely blow up. So a few of my investors, for instance, they would buy townhomes that have a basement. They will rent the basement. They will buy the property for about $450, right? They'll rent a basement for between $1,200 to $1,500, and they'll rent each room upstairs for like $800 to $900. So they literally live in a house where they're getting a cash flow, living for free, and they're building equity as well. So they could take that equity, buy a second property. So I had two clients, like right out of college, bought one property, did the exact same thing. They rented the basement, rented the rooms out, had one bedroom, and then was able to get some equity from that property and bought a second property. So this is how you could really build your wealth while you're seeing your property grow in value. So definitely the Ashburn location, Ruston's a good place to, you know, to buy places. A lot of IT individuals living there. So it's really easy to get like renters and DC. Exactly.
Cool. LaDonna, what you got for us?
So I literally have been targeting this for my own personal business.
Okay,
so in the group chat, my whole list of Southeast and Northeast and Southern Maryland zip codes, but I'm gonna run them down real quick. So for Northeast DC, I'm targeting, and I recommend everybody else to look into this, to 20002, 20001, 20003, 20020, 20032, 20373, and 20024. Those price points are great for first-time home buyers. And I know everyone likes to sound sexy by calling themselves an investor, but anytime you buy a house, you're investing. So you're already a real estate investor, because your first house is gonna be you grow out of that and you're gonna add it into your portfolio. So all first-time home buyers, don't think you're a little baby. That's you adding into your portfolio. That's your first home. And then game right now, I'm gonna give you guys the neighborhoods for the purple line. Ready? Because I've been researching this.
Okay, so let's talk about the purple line neighborhoods. Let's go.
Purple line neighborhoods right quick. We got New Carlton. Okay, we got Hyattsville, College Park, which also has colleges over there. Riverdale, Dale Drive, Landover, Silver Spring. A lot of people like Silver Spring. Price points are a little bit higher in Silver Spring, but it's still a really nice neighborhood.
Silver Spring is beautiful.
Yeah, Silver Spring is really nice. We have Manchester Place, Piney Branch Road, Tacoma Park is popping. Tacoma Park is a great place to go. It's gonna be right for the purple line as well. Adolphi Road, Beacon Heights, Annapolis Road, Glen Ridge, and then also, like I said earlier, Anacostia, Capitol Hill, Suitland.
What about like Bowie?
Bowie's a little bit further up, and that's yeah, Bowie's still good. I'm moving weight in Bowie, but in regards to, we're moving weight in Bowie.
I got a question about smoking in Bowie, LaDonna. I'm gonna send it to you.
Please.
I'm sending it. It'll be on the market maybe in 2 weeks.
All right, let's go. Let's go. My demographic for Bowie is more like the older crowd, you know, and they like a little estate. You can get an affordable estate in Bowie with some land, so you can go show out at the cookout, you know, they can go, you know, show out in front of their friends. That's my Bowie crowd and my Upper Marlboro crowd. I'm also real deep in a prestigious senior community up there, Cameron Grove. Yeah, Bowie and Upper Marlboro is popping. But in regards to people who are looking at an investment standpoint, those are the areas that I recommend in Southern PG County.
Wow. All right. So real quick, right? Good, great information. Hold on real quick. So look, everybody on YouTube, shout out to y'all. We're about 200 people now, which is good for my channel. So shout out to everybody on the YouTube watching. Make sure y'all hit that like button because these women are giving out so much game right now. We got zip codes going in the Zoom chat. I mean, like, this is just phenomenal right now. A couple people text me that's watching this right now. Ask me how can they get in a Zoom call. So look, unfortunately, like I told them in the text, only people who are allowed in the Zoom calls are members of EYL University. So if you want to join EYL University, use my annual discount code EYLMG. All right, you save 40% off the annual price. Those are the only folks that are allowed on the Zoom calls on Earn Your Leisure's YouTube lives and on my lives. All right, so let me bring on Sabrina. I'm bringing back to you. Go ahead, Sabrina.
I'm good. You can hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Oh my God. Anybody that's listening like on YouTube, I cannot stress enough. I've only been a part of EYL for maybe 2.5 weeks now. I would have paid $2 million for everything that they offer. So if y'all don't have the course, you got to get it. And I just wanted to piggyback about the whole Baltimore situation. When I keep saying I went to Morgan, my parents almost, when we got there and we moved my stuff in and we went to go grab something to eat, it was nice, you know, by the Cold Spring area. And then it gets kind of crazy, you know. We went to get something to eat and they almost didn't want to drop me off because of how like it changes block by block. So you really have to, like she said, look at Google Maps and figure it out. But my question is for the young lady with DC. In the beginning, you said that Northwest and Southwest was too high right now. You said Southeast and it was something else.
Northeast and Southeast is the next frontier.
Okay.
I've been saying it since I've been in real estate here. I've been telling everybody from 5 years ago, Northeast and Southeast DC is the next frontier. And I'm gonna break it down to make it make some sense. DC proper is only 10 miles wide. And it's the epicenter of our community here. So if it's only 10 miles wide and Northeast and Southeast have already popped, because before it used to be really rough about a decade plus ago, it only makes logical sense for the other half of DC to rise up to meet Northeast and Northwest and Southwest. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now's the time to buy it. Since I've moved here 5-6 years ago, property prices have started to skyrocket in Northwest and Southwest. So Northeast and Southeast is going to be the next one to pop.
They're not building any more land.
They're not.
To that, you know?
They're not.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, so I'm gonna bring on Elise. I'm coming to you right now. Go ahead, Elise.
To go back to Baltimore, piggyback off what the other person was asking, what are the prices of turnkeys in those area codes that you mentioned? The 21239 and 21212.
Yeah, between recently a realtor friend said they got something at 95. I'm gonna say about 80,000. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I did not know how to turn my phone from ringing.
I was gonna say turn the sound off, sis.
Keep trying to hit it, it's not working. Sorry. I'm gonna say between 80 and 140 are really good prices, and in that 140 you can find some duplexes. How do I cut this out?
You can, like, Baltimore is real cool that you have areas where you can find turnkey, like the gentleman who just got a turnkey house in Mount Vernon for $280, or you can get a turnkey house honestly in around the way for $60, or you can find somewhere else and you can get a turnkey for $150, right? There's really like a price point and a neighborhood for everyone, depending on what it is that you're looking to do and accomplish, as long as it fits your goals and the numbers make sense.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna come to you, Sabrina. Go ahead, Sabrina.
Oh, no, I already went.
Oh, you already went? My bad. Let me lower your hand. Hold on. Somebody's hand was up. All right, so let's go to, there you go. Cheryl, can you hear me? Okay, Cheryl, can you hear me?
Unmute her.
You gotta unmute yourself, Cheryl. All right, we'll come back to her. Angeline.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. This is really, really good, Matt. I appreciate this call today. My question is kind of to everyone because I am an investor. However, I am primarily focused on multi-families. So I wanted to know from LaDonna, you said the Northeast, Southeast area of DC is up and coming. Can you either tell me some either zip codes or areas where primarily they're multi-families?
There's not a lot left in DC proper for multifamilies. Those are kind of, they're like relics. I would say they got ate up majority, like, you know, they got bought up pretty quickly, but sometimes you can still find some. Where would there be some? Yeah, still Anacostia, across the river. In Anacostia, I have to look up Anacostia's zip code. But there's not a lot. And especially if you're looking for one that's below like 600,000, they're kind of high in price points.
Okay. And how would that be if you can share anyone for the Baltimore area and for the Virginia area, same question.
So I'll say for Baltimore, the areas that you'll find multis are likely going to be like your Bolton Hills, your Reservoir Hills, your Forest Parks, Park Heights, Gwen Oak. I do neighborhoods. I don't do zip codes. Zip codes are large in Baltimore, but you can narrow them down. Jojo gave you the gems and all the spots, but I do neighborhoods. So definitely Forest Park, Gwen Oak, Park Heights. Down by Washington Village. What neighborhood am I thinking about, Jojo? Down there, they have a couple multis by the hospital.
Pigtown, Washington Village area, that 21230.
Yeah, down that way, there's a few closer to the hospital though, so like a little bit over to the side. But yeah, you can definitely find multis in and around. The price points out in like the Northwest, like Park Heights, Glen Oak, Forest Park area, you can probably find multis between 120 to 180, sometimes a little bit higher. Sometimes you can get into the twos, but it's going to be kind of around that range. When you get down into like the Bolton Hills, Reservoir Hills, depending on whether or not they're renovated and depending on how many units there are, because you can get 3 units or you can get 6, right? So there's a lot of variety over there. And prices are getting higher. So a multi in like Reservoir Hills probably going to get you like high 200s that are renovated. You can still sometimes find things that are coming on the market that need renovation at a better or lower price point. But that's kind of the numbers that you're going to see typically around there.
And what would the rents be? So like you mentioned a 6 unit, which is possibly what I'd be interested in. What would the rents be in you said Reservoir Hill?
Reservoir Hill. So if you get a 6 unit, that's probably going to run you in like the 300,000 or more, depending on how much work needs to be done. Especially if it's 300,000. If you're getting 300,000, it probably needs work. And then for, let's say you have like a 3-bedroom, that's probably going to go from 1,100 to 1,350, depending on where you are. 2 bedrooms probably from about 1,000 to 1,150, and kind of moving it around there. But again, it depends on where you are. So sometimes you can shift a little bit lower than that as well in that area specifically. You're gonna find some 2 bedrooms that are going for $950, So it just kind of depends on where you are. That's that whole block to block thing we were talking about. But rents are pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Man, this has been a lot of information. And
Harlem Park, they're saying it in the thing. I knew I had my people in the chat. They know what I was talking about.
I was gonna say, for the last lady that said something, if you'd like me to send you some listings around the city, if you want to put your email, send me your email. I can shoot you out something from the MLS, because multi-units, we're gonna have to open it up to the city. Like Kiara said, it's gonna be several neighborhoods, but yeah.
Okay.
let me ask you guys about Fort Washington and Oxon Hill. What do you guys think about that?
I know you didn't just say on Hill.
How you spell? I be butchering stuff. I butcher names. I butcher towns. How you pronounce that? Oxon? What is it called?
Oxon Hill and Fort Washington. Those are in the same areas that I was mentioning earlier. Oxon Hill is right where the new MGM casino is. So that added a lot of value to the area, and it's right over the bridge from Alexandria in Old Town, historic Old Town Alexandria. It's not too far away. Those actually have a contract that's closing next week in Oxon Hill. And first-time home buyer, and no, he has a condo in DC proper already. So he's renting that one out, and then he's purchasing a townhouse in Oxon Hill. It's a duplex format, and we got 3% seller concession. And we ratified at, and those of you who don't know, ratified means we got an offer under contract at $248. $248, and it's a 3-bedroom, and it's renovated.
Wow, that's pretty dope. So look, man, we coming up on an hour and 45 minutes of this, right? Normally I started this whole this panel thing, and I said, okay, an hour to 90 minutes. And Philly went 2 hours and 10 minutes. And now DC is pushing almost 2 hours. DMV is pushing almost 2 hours. But I think this has been so much great information that you ladies have shared with us. But I want to get into Charmcity Buyers real quick, right? Because you guys have an interesting story. You guys are buying up blocks literally in Beemore. So the folks who don't know you, talk a little bit about your background and how you guys got into investing.
Yeah, so we bought our first property. We were 22 and 23, fresh out of college, didn't know nothing. And we bought our first deal was a 3-unit shell that we had to do a $120,000 renovation to, where we happened to be in Connecticut, because that's where I moved after college. Close always corny, says he followed love, so he moved from Baltimore to Connecticut to come hang out with me because I'm the bomb. And then we moved back down here right before we had our daughter. And so we just kept buying up Baltimore. I mean, for us, it's always been about seeing the opportunity and seeing like what was coming and what was going to happen, and putting our money where our mouth was when it comes to what's going on in Baltimore. So we just continue to build and buy up properties. Our foundation is rentals, and then transition into development where we were doing kind of one-off flips, and then we got into a situation where we knew there was a lot of things happening and coming and in a neighborhood, and we bought one house on a block, and there was a lot of vacants. We're like, if we do this one, we got to do the rest. And that was kind of how that all came about. And so from there, I mean, we work a lot with like city officials. We have meetings with the head of housing of the state of Maryland. Like, we've kind of transitioned from really being focused on turning vacant houses into homes to developing community. Like, how do we develop community from the inside out? How do we work with community associations and nonprofits? We have some affordable housing projects that we're doing right now. We have a lot of market rate stuff we're doing right now. It's a really cool time to be in development in Baltimore. It's really, really exciting. And then we have all of our mentees that are like killing it and buying up all these properties, and we have a lot of fun projects we're doing with them. So it's exciting.
So I got $30,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do with that in Baltimore?
It depends on what your goals are, right? $30,000, you can leverage it and buy a couple turnkeys if you wanted to, depending on how you structure the deal. We're really big on OPM and creative financing. So we're big on going direct to seller, being able to negotiate really great deals where you can get in, you know, relatively cheaply as an investor. You know, I think a lot of people get hung up on the $5,000 houses in Baltimore, or like, Lord have mercy, that dollar house article that went around for a good 6 years. Everybody think they could buy 30 houses with 30, you know, no. So the $5,000 houses in Baltimore usually need $120,000 of renovation. Let's be very clear about that. So $30,000 is not going to get you 6 houses in Baltimore if you want anyone to be able to live in them. But you can find, our first deal in Baltimore, we paid $26,000 for it. We put probably a good like 15 to 20 into it, put a tenant in it, turned it over a couple times, right? So we have some money in it. Within 3-4 years, that house was worth over $160,000, right? So being able to understand like how to deploy your money, move it around, and look and understand the neighborhoods, we tell our mentees to follow the money, like understand what's going on in Baltimore. You can stretch that $30,000 as far as you want to if you know what you're doing.
So somebody asked in the YouTube comments, what does turnkey mean? Turnkey property is basically fully renovated and is ready to rent out to tenants. So do you see Baltimore, just from an investor standpoint, continuing this level of appreciation over the next 3 to 5 years?
Absolutely. There's a lot of commercial development. So the way housing a lot of times works is you have usually big money commercial developments that happen that spur development around it. That's why we're talking about like the purple line, in DC. That's big money commercial development coming into the area that spurs the excitement and development, or Amazon coming into the area that spurs a lot of different things. We have 3 Amazon warehouses in Baltimore, right? So
3 of them.
Yeah, 3. The third one's coming right now. It's going to be opening this summer. So so with that, with the fact that there's so many different things happening, you have Under Armour doing their headquarters. There's seeing large commercial development projects happening in almost every sector in the city that's spurring a lot of the residential development that's happening and continuing to move. On top of the fact that we have all of these hospitals in the city that have, you know, tons of employees that are looking to have, you know, the city lifestyle. They want to be able to ride their little electric scooters to work. And so that those types of things continue to spur development. And I think where we're getting to now is people starting to understand Baltimore and appreciate Baltimore's culture for what it is versus what they heard about on the news or watching HBO. And so that's kind of, I think that's the biggest challenge that Baltimore continues to have, is being able to tell its own story from the inside out rather than, you know, people telling everyone about us from, you know, from the outside. We had somebody in the chat and they were talking about Baltimore real heavy. I was like, sis, you live here? And she was like, no. I'm like, well, why? So it's like, you know, it's that reputation. And it's I was in Baltimore a couple years ago and X, Y, and Z. Well, a lot of things have changed in Baltimore. There's a neighborhood that would have been considered, you know, pretty dicey several years ago and has a house on the market right now for $1.2 million. That is the Baltimore market right now. And I think if people still continue to put Baltimore in the box, what's going to happen is we're going to blink and we're going to feel like Southeast DC, who said, what happened to my neighborhood? What happened to where I grew up? Right? I went to college and I came back and I can't go home because I don't know where to go. I don't know any of these people. That's what Baltimore is doing and going through now. But the interesting thing about the city is that it happens kind of in like pockets, like it happens quickly, but it happens in pockets. Well, right now there's a lot of pockets. And that's the thing that we keep telling everyone, is that things are popping off all over the place. And so if you continue to hold on to the history of Baltimore, you're going to miss the train, and you're not going to say Charmcity Buyers ain't tell you first.
So would you advise, so like for me, for example, right? Mm-hmm. I'm hearing you ladies talk about Baltimore. Baltimore is definitely becoming more and more interesting to me now that I had this conversation. So can I just buy property and just hold it and not rehab it? Is there like any restrictions? Like, because I know some cities, once you buy, you have to like finish your rehab within like a year. Is it the same for Baltimore as well?
So I'll tell you that I will side eye you because I'm working too doggone hard for y'all coming here and hold on to these properties. Y'all gonna do these renovations. But so beyond that, depending on where you buy the property or how you buy the property, there may be some restrictions. So there are certain places that if you buy the property, there are restrictions on the property that you have to finish it within a year. Generally speaking, there is not like a legal thing saying that you have to do the work. But if you buy a property and you sit on it, they're going to try to influence you to do the work by fining you for not boarding up the house the perfect way, for high grass, for whatever. And then you have to you pay registration for having vacant properties as well. So they're going to know you're vacant. So they're going to hold you accountable to still take care of your property because they don't want people to buy and hold. That's honestly why there's so many vacancies in the city. It's not that the city owns all the properties. They own a percentage, but they don't own all of them. It's because investors have bought property in the city either directly from the city or through the tax lien program and just sit on them and won't do anything with them, and it holds everything back. And so now they're trying to kind of clean a lot of that up. They're knocking down a lot of vacants so that we can get the momentum and the progression that Baltimore City deserves. So yes, technically can you, but should you and will I let you? Nah.
What about tax liens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tax lien investing, is that a big thing in the entire DMV? You know, all of you guys can answer that question. LaDonna, you're making me hungry too.
It is.
I gotta eat, man.
Yeah, you're It is a big thing in Baltimore. It happens every year. People, you have people that are, in the tax lien sale because they used to be $150 behind on their water, and their property end up on the tax lien list. Now they're not doing that with owner occupied homes and waters, but yeah, Baltimore City tax lien program is really well known and is one of the ways that a lot of people are able to start the process to be able to get homes, because it is a process for tax liens. I know everybody gets really excited about it, but it is a process. You have to actually foreclose and all that kind of stuff. But that is a big way that outside investors try to invest in Baltimore.
Lily, is there a lot of tax liens going on in VA?
No,
tax sales?
We passed that boat. You don't really see a lot of foreclosures, short sale, tax liens. You don't really see that. Recently, I went to buy a property that was in a process of foreclosing. So I went to a courthouse with a cashier check to buy the property, to do a flip. There were literally 100 people for the same property.
Damn.
And so it's very competitive in Virginia. So a lot of investors with cash money. And so it's not as easy as it used to be.
Interesting. LaDonna, what's up in DC?
I would say no for DC proper. I don't really know of any, but definitely for Southern Maryland for sure. There's foreclosures. Like I have a foreclosure closing next week in Maryland, and you're in Upper Marlboro.
Interesting. All right, so look, we're coming up on 2 hours. It's Tequila Friday. I don't want to hold you ladies up all day. Look, this has been freaking phenomenal, DMV. So I'm gonna ask each of you a question, and then you guys can just tell everybody your information, how to contact you after you answer the question. And I'll start with you, LaDonna, since I'm looking dead at you right now. And you're on the big screen right now. So LaDonna, is this the time right now to buy, or are you recommending people to wait to see what happens after COVID-19?
That's like the all-time question of real estate, right? Like, what's the market doing? Is it time to buy now? Based off of your goals, it is the time to buy. You have your green file correct. You have your arsenal equipped. You have a badass loan officer like yourself, a badass real estate agent like myself, and you have your capital lined up and you have reserves. Pull the trigger, because things change. This time last year, I was selling properties in DC proper for people who had interest rates at 5.5, and now these are like all-time lows, below 3%. I just had a family yesterday get locked in at 2.7. So now's the time to buy if you have your house in order.
How can the people follow you and do business with you?
My first name, last name, LaDonna Stokes at Gmail. I mean, not at Gmail, at IG on Instagram. You can just type in my name. It's everywhere. It's LaDonna Stokes. You see this face smiling, you know, same headshot.
I love that. I love that. Shout out to LaDonna Stokes, the Virgo queen. Lily, is this the time to buy in Northern Virginia or wait until after COVID-19?
No, by now. I completely agree. You're gonna just, I mean, rates are super low. What's in the low 3%? I mean, at this point, if you keep waiting till COVID passes, you're gonna miss out, and you're gonna be in a bidding war. So jump on it while you can.
How can the people find you? Emails, IG, social media, whatever.
My Instagram is Homes by Lily. My Gmail email address is lily1.remax@gmail.com.
Cool. Let's go to Jojo. Same question to you. Is this the time to wait, or we're gonna buy right now?
So I think this is absolutely the time to buy if you can meet these 5 qualities. 1, do you have job security? 2, do you have a credit score above 640? 3, do you have a healthy savings either in your account now or from your 401k of 10,000 or more in the event all the grant programs are exhausted? And 4, is your debt to income ratio between 45 and 50%? And number 5, have you scheduled a buyer's consultation with Jojo_Giovanni on Instagram? And my email is jojo@realestatewithjojo.com. And I absolutely think that the market is thriving. Interest rates were already low because it's election year, so you already know. And then COVID just took it way down. I think right now is the best time. I think so many great things are going to happen in the DMV, and people just forget about us a little bit. You know what I mean? So I think that now is the best time to invest and just make Baltimore, DC, Virginia home, right?
Let's make DMV great again, huh?
We don't have a real estate show.
All right, so let's end it with you. Charmcity Buyers. Same question for the Charmcity Buyers. Are we buying now? Are we waiting for COVID-19? What are we doing?
We're definitely buying. We are definitely, we always say, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready, right? So you've been doing what you have to do. So now it's time to get off the sidelines and make things happen. Do not make Baltimore the next Harlem, Brooklyn, DC, Philly, all these areas where we've had conversations about, what happened? We missed the boat. Prices are so high. Like, how do we get in now? Like, let's not do that in Baltimore. We're still early on. Let's make it happen, and let's, do some great things in Baltimore City.
All right, tell them how to find you. And you got a mentor program too. Talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so you can follow us at Charmcity Buyers on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel, Charmcity Buyers. You can check out. We have a bunch of videos and stuff up there. Go ahead and subscribe there too. And then we have the Next Gen Accelerator. So the Next Gen Accelerator is our mentorship coaching program. I know there's a bunch of next geners in the comments been acting up the whole time, but we are really looking to build the next generation of buyers in Charm City, right? That's what it is. And it's all about making sure that folks have the access to resources, guidance, and tools to be successful in Baltimore specifically. It's not a course, right? It's not just watching some videos or whatever. It's kind of coming in, learning what you need to learn, and taking action. So people are buying properties in DC, multiple units in, a few months, a year's time. We have people join Next Gen with 4 units, and a year later end up having 15 units. Like, we're not playing. So Next Gen is for people who are ready to take action, not just take a course. I don't just want your money. I don't need that. I want people to buy and own in Baltimore. So that's what the Next Gen Accelerator is all about. You can find more information on charmcitybuyers.com/Next Gen Accelerator. And we're also doing some Baltimore City informational, like free master classes we're doing throughout the month of May. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the link in our bio on Instagram at Charmcity Buyers.
Jojo, say your IG again, because a lot of people couldn't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Jojo, Jojo _ Giovanni, Giovanni. And if anybody reaches out to me, I can send you several pieces. I'll send you those zip codes that I yelled out really fast. I'll also send you some information about the home buying courses. Things have changed a little bit with COVID because the places, the centers are closed and you can't do in-person meetings. So I'll send you information about how you can do, what courses you go to, and then how you can do it online. So it's Jojo _ Giovanni, and my email is jojo@realestatewithjojo.com. I wanted to piggyback off of, and then I'm gonna stop because I wanna get a glass of wine. I'm gonna piggyback off of what Kiara said. It's so important for, and LaDonna, you said it, as well. Well, it was a little different. You know, gentrification is less about color and it's more about economics. It's so happened that we fall on the losing end of that spectrum. So it's so important what Kiara said. We're old enough. I'm 37. We're old enough to see what happened in DC, Brooklyn, Harlem, all of these places. Yet we're young enough and we have access to so much more money than maybe our parents or our grandparents had, that we can be a part of this. You know what I mean? We can be a part of this wealth building tool. So I just wanted to say that, and I just want to thank you for having me.
No problem. No problem.
I mean,
so it's something when you come to Baltimore.
Oh yeah, look, I was supposed to come out there. What was that, for March? For some, yeah, for March 23rd for a Google.
Yeah, you're supposed to come to Baltimore too.
And I was supposed to come to Baltimore on the way back.
Oh,
so you know, I'm looking forward to this to be over, so that way we can really get back to doing what we need to do and hitting the road and educating folks and getting in. Because I'm definitely, I like the DMV, and I definitely want to learn more about Baltimore. I want to go down there. I want to like smell the air. Like I want to feel the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see the zombie cribs. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see.
We can find a couple of bandos for you if that's what you're looking for.
I want to see the bandos, but I also want to see. I don't want to just see. You know, this is what I tell people when they invest. It's not always about the D or C areas. You got to look at the B areas as well. I'm not a fan of buying in A areas, but I like B areas because I think those where you can really get some good value for cash flow and appreciation because it's right in between. And you always have a need for tenants in those areas. So I definitely would like to check it out. And especially with that example you gave with the 2-family, $140,000, collecting $2,200 in rent. I mean, that's a home run. You know, that's and with all the stacking of grants that you can do. I mean, I thought this was a, 2+ hours of gems. So everybody in YouTube, man, if y'all thought this was gems too, number one, like this video. Number two, throw that gems emoji in the comments because this was pure gems, man. These ladies rock the house. But YouTube, we're about to sign off on you guys because I gave you guys 2.5 hours and we're going to have a conversation between ourselves here in the Zoom chat. So YouTube, like the video, put the gems up. Reach out to all the ladies if you have any questions about the zip codes that they mentioned, if you want to know more about the Charmcity Buyers program and invest in Virginia, DC, or Baltimore. These are the go-to people you guys need to reach out to. And if you want to become a member of Earn Your Leisure University, use my annual discount code EYLMG. Any of my earners in the building, put earners in the comments right now. They can vouch for the value that you get being a member of EYL University. Until I think next week. Next week I ain't going to tell y'all right now. Y'all just got to follow me on Instagram and hit that notification button. And I'll tell you what I'm doing next week for the market update. But the market, y'all thought this was fire. We got more fire coming back next week.
Hot fire.
And we got a lot of gems in the comments coming too. So ladies, you guys represented. YouTube, we are out. We're going to finish this conversation in the Zoom. Peace, YouTube.